Alright guys, it's your girl Matt Cox with MA Couture Crafting. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time here, hello, it's very nice to meet you. If you find any value from this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And let's get into it. We are talking about this box here. I love this box so much. It takes about 20 minutes to make after you've cut everything out. And I know a lot of my sewers have the Brother Scan and Cut or Cricuts too, and so this is just a neat way to gift some of your items. So inside this box I'll be placing my mug rug, my bowl cozies, and this little teacup cozy too, and they'll all go inside this box. It's just a showstopper. Like when you go to give somebody this, or when you send it UPS or however you send it, to pull this out is just, it's just a showstopper. It's stunning. And I went ahead and made a card to match because it was already out, but at the end of the day all you need to do is fold the cardstock over and you got a card. What I like about this is that the paper is double-sided, and so you get a really nice finished look about this paper. So if you can, get double-sided paper, and then also try to make sure that it is the heavier cardstock, not that flimsy designer paper, because that's just gross. This is a pattern by SVG Designs, SVG Cuts, who is my absolute favorite SVG designer of all time. This box is, I think they call it a 6-sided apothecary box. Isn't it cute? Oh, I just love it. So again, this is how I would suggest gifting your mug rugs and teacup cozies. So if you'd like to see how to make this box, check this video out. And I also have another shorter video doing this box in all white for a bridal shower. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye-bye. It's been so long since I have done paper crafting that I almost forgot what I was doing, guys. But I made it through. So I bought a paper pad that looks kind of cottagecore-esque, you know, that kind of vibe, that kind of pastel-y kind of vibe to it, which is totally what my friend likes. And we are going to make a box and a card. I was only planning on making a box, but then I was like, duh, might as well make a card too, since we're gifting this. And I'm showing you guys how to make this box because I think it's so cute. It's my favorite box of all time. So I'm going through and picking 7 prints for the base of the box, for the decoration on the top of the box, for the bow, and you'll see where each color goes. I really like these patterns for these boxes because you know where each piece is going to go. You know how many pieces of paper you need. They're just really well thought out. I really like this company. They are definitely my favorites for 3D paper crafts. And most of you guys have a Cricut or a Brother Scan and Cut or a Silhouette. So I figured, hey, why don't I just marry the two? I'm really looking forward to marrying fabric crafts and paper crafts all together because that's my world. So me and this art glitter glue had a time, and really the issue is that it was just clogged and I needed to unclog it, and I was trying to half-step this whole project, so it's going to get on your nerves a bit, but eventually I get it together. So the first thing you're going to do is just go to these little tabs that are at the bottom of the box. Just fold over all the score marks that you have and then start assembling it. And this box goes together pretty easily. I'd say it goes together kind of, yeah, pretty easily. And you just hold it for a few seconds. I really like that glue. I'm using Art Glitter Glue. And I get mine from Amazon. And I get that refill bottle that you saw me using before. And I'm just putting glue on those little tabs, and I am securing them by holding them together for a few seconds, and then they hold good enough to put a little tension on them. So now I'm going to put the 2 bottom pieces together, and just like that. And you'll see that this box, one of the reasons why I like it, it has so much style, but it's higher in the back than it is in the front. So you really do need to be careful with where you're putting these tabs. You don't want to put the wrong tab to the other side because it's not identical. Boy, I love this box. It's so cute. And it's pretty good size. At one point, I was buying presents that fit in this box just so I could make this box for everybody during the holiday season. It's just my favorite box. I think it's so cute under the tree. Oh my goodness, a bunch of these under the tree is so cute. So now that the sides of the box have been assembled, you're going to grab your largest bottom piece and go on ahead and glue that to the bottom. I am so thrilled that this paper pack is double-sided. There is something about a double-sided paper pack when you are assembling a box. It just makes it look so much more luxurious. And I put that color facing out. You know, you've got options, and I certainly played with the idea of putting that other pattern out, but I thought, nah, this one works fine. And as you can see, I changed the color that I originally pulled for the bottom of this box because it just wasn't going to show up the way that I wanted it to. So just fun. I love picking fabrics and picking paper. I'm telling you, it just brings me great joy. So then I went ahead and glued down the inside liner and finished off the inside of that box. Now we're going to work on the box top. And these are the sides to the box top. So I'm just folding over all the score lines. And then I'm going to grab this tab and we're going to put some glue on it and just turn it into, I think it's 6-sided. I think this is a 6-sided box. I have another video of me putting together this box in all white. It's not plain white paper. It's different patterns of white paper and for a bridal shower, and it was beautiful. And now I'm going to show you the trick to putting on this top. For the top, you really want to get it as perfect as you can. And I know there's no such thing as perfection, but you're going to try. So the best way to do that is to do the very front panel first and line that up really good and make sure that it's adhered really well. And then go on ahead and do that back panel. And once you get those two, then you can go on ahead and do the rest of them. And I like to work from the inside for the next step. And then you can push it down. And I have some tools that I like to use. Those big round, what are those stylus tools that I usually use because my nails are usually super long, but not during the pandemic. No, ma'am. I can wait. Ooh, look at it. Isn't it just a cutie patootie? And of course, you don't have to put the bows and the ribbons and you can stop or you can do this all in one color. I mean, the world is at your fingertips with this kind of stuff, which is another reason why I like it. And right now I have no reason whatsoever to make another box, but I kind of just want to because they're so cute. They're so my favorite box to put together. So now there are these little panels that go on the sides of the top of this box, the top section. And as you can see, they're all different sizes. And so each one has a specific place. They're not interchangeable. And the way that I chose these patterns is you see how the roses are really big and fluffy and spread out. It's a really large pattern. And the panels that I'm putting on top of it is a more tight pattern. The flowers, the scale is a lot smaller. And that's how you make your patterns work when you're mixing patterns. I know some people don't feel comfortable mixing patterns. They'll just do a solid color box and then maybe one pattern, but I just wanted to go with all of them. And when you're pulling from the same paper stack, as long as you check the scale of your prints, you should be fine. This shouldn't be an issue because they're kind of made to all go together. And we're putting on this last panel on the outside. And this box takes me maybe 15 minutes to put together. After it's been cut, it takes me a minute to get it all loaded. And then my Cricut wanted to act like it didn't have good sense. So that happened. But if it was smooth sailing, it takes me about 15 minutes to put this box together. It doesn't take long at all, especially when you know where things go. Now with this ribbon, you have to be careful because some sides are shorter than the others and longer. They're just not interchangeable. You have to pay attention. I just love it. This box is just so well thought out. Kudos to Mary, who I'm just such a big fan of. I just love her work. And so you glue that little tab to that side and you can see the bottom strips don't have a rounded curve. They don't need to. They have a straight section, so you'll see. And the best way to make sure that this is lined up as best you can is to kind of slip this underneath and get it centered right underneath that ribbon, and then just push it down, and then do the same thing in the back. I give it a little glue, and then I just slip it underneath, and before I really press it down, I make sure that it's lined up pretty straight. Isn't that cute? Oh, and again, the back tilts up. You'll see it in the pictures that this is not just a flat box. And then it has a bow, and Lord knows we know how much I love bows. And I cut out 2 different versions of the center of this bow. I wasn't sure which one was going to take the cake. I was trying to get a little too creative, trying to get a little too mixy. Sometimes I just can't leave stuff alone. I want to just try stuff and look at it. And sometimes I stumble upon really happy accidents, but this time, no, I just wasted cutting that paper. I was thinking about it. See, look at me. Oh, I'm just a thinking. And this bow has some dimension to it, so you don't want to glue that centerpiece down flat. The very first time I made this box, I glued it down just as flat, and it wasn't cute. Make sure your bow, you leave a little cushion, a little space for your bow. And the way to do that is just butt that right up against the end and hold it for a few seconds, because you're going to need to put some tension on that part. And then you're going to push the other one around, but you're going to make sure that the ends line up. So you see how it's got a little gap there to give it a little more dimension, and then just push it down. I like to have my bow up closer to the top, but you could really put that bow on the front of the box. You can put it anywhere on that ribbon. I just like to have mine up a little bit further. So here you'll see the box from the side. And see, oh, it's so cute. I believe this box is like 6 by 7 by 7. It's a good size box. And if you wanted to make it more sturdy, you could just cut the base out a few more times and stack them up, and then you'll have a sturdier bottom. Now here is the card. When I cut it, it had a little bit of fuzzy wuzzies. My blade didn't cut it that great, so I cut it to 5.5 by 11, and I scored it at 5.5. Now we're just going to fold it over. And I'm using a Teflon bone folder so that I don't get any marks on this cardstock. Now I had all of this leftover cardstock, and I'm not trying to just like, I don't want to have a stash of fabric. I don't want to have a stash of cardstock, a bunch of stuff that I'm never going to use again. So I decided to try to use up as much as I possibly could of these scraps to get rid of it, which is another reason why we ended up with a card. So I cut down this panel. If the panel is 5.5, I think I cut it out to 5 3/8. It's just a tiny bit, a smidgen of black still showing, like a super smidgen. Now this bow cardstock that we used, it's kind of got a relaxed pattern, and it somewhat reads as a solid. So I felt comfortable enough stamping a bold sentiment on top and not getting scared that it was going to draw from it. Now, usually you'll cut your sentiment out some kind of way, but these don't have die cuts, so you get what you get, but they are bold. So I just stamped that twice in the same spot just to make it as bold as possible, and you can read it. It doesn't really, that pattern in the back doesn't detract from it too much, in my opinion, because I didn't want to use a solid. I only wanted to use one. There's a solid right there, but I didn't want to use a couple of solids. I just wasn't in the mood for solids. Trying to use patterns, probably because I have that quilt coming up that's using nothing but patterns. No solids are allowed in that quilt. I am pushing the boundaries. So I'm just using the stamp set, Letter It. These are really inexpensive stamps that you can get from Michael's, and they're really nice. They're not the best quality, but you can make them work if you use that VersaFine clear ink. And now I'm just going to cut it down. No specific sizes. I'm just cutting it down so that it's kind of tight to where the font starts and ends. I am feeling very intuitive lately. I haven't been doing a lot of measuring and trying to be exact. I'm just cutting stuff down and to make it feel right. These last mug rugs that I've been doing, I've just kind of been feeling around them just to get over that, just trying to be perfect all the time, trying to get stuff perfect. It's just, ugh, I'm over it. So look, I'm measuring with the paper, but I'm not measuring with the markings or anything. And then I had this idea that I wanted to stack it to mat it. So I'm cutting everything down. I'm cutting everything down. I'm trying to make sure that it's lined up straight. And then I thought, I haven't used my corner rounders in a while. And sometimes you can just round one corner and it gives it such a cute look. So I did that. Again, it's been a while since I paper crafted. So I'm just kind of feeling my way around, getting reacquainted with my tools, going slow, but also just enjoying the process. I like the way this looks. Grateful for you. I really just wanted a big, huge for you, but oh well. I didn't have it, or I do have it and don't know where it is. So I decided that for you needed to be popped up a little bit, and I prefer black foam dots because it kind of creates a shadow so that you're not seeing it from the side. Those stark white foam dots, sometimes from the side you can really see them. These black ones, they just kind of look like a shadow. I prefer them. However, the ones I got are not as thick as I prefer them to be, so I've got to use these up. So now I'm going back because I just couldn't stop. But you know that when I make cards, I believe that cards need a matching envelope, and there's no reason for me not to make a matching envelope. I have the card stock. It's just the right thing to do. Even though this box is going to be shipped, so it's going to be put in another box, I thought, we're going to do an envelope because, again, it's just the right thing to do, and it's kind of my style. So I busted out my 1-2-3 punch board, which you see to the left, and it said that for a 5.5 by 5.5 card, I needed to cut the cardstock down to 9 1/8, and then I need to make my punch at 4.5. So I slide this paper over using that ruler at the top to 4.5, and then I hit that green button, and then I score. And then I turn it around and put that little mark on the score line and hit that green button again. And I just keep doing that until I work my way all the way around. And bam, now we have an envelope. Love having matching envelopes. That's the best tool ever. It's one that I use a lot on my channel. And now we're just going to fold it over. And I thought, let's get fancy. Because again, I don't know when to stop. And I thought, let's put a liner. Is that paper double-sided? Heck yeah, it is. So you really don't need a liner. However, I wanted a liner. So I measured from the top of that card down to the side, and then you subtract 1/4 from whatever that measurement is. I believe this was a 4.25 by 4.25 piece of cardstock that I cut. I rounded the edges, and then I flipped it over and put, if it's a 4.5 by 4.5 cardstock, you slide it to the 4.5 by 4.5 mark, punch both sides, and that way it fits your envelope. See the sides? How they kind of curve along with it. Love making envelope liners. It just makes things look expensive. It's already got rose gold on the inside. Do not glue down that base part. I have a video on how to do this that goes slower and much more in depth, but do not glue that down. Otherwise, you won't be able to open and close your card very well. I'm using wet glue here, but I'm being very, very careful not to glue the envelope together because it's just the kind of thing that I could do. And that just looks beautiful, but I couldn't stop. I had this set from the Gray Muse called Social Distance, and it says stuff like, I'm sorry that it sucks right now, virtual hugs, can't wait to see you after this is all over. This card comes from 6 feet away. It just has the best sentiments on it. Go back and pause it and look at some of those sentiments. I am here for it. It's like the social distancing stamp set of the year. And just to make it cohesive, I grabbed some of those same strips and cut them down. And I decided to round both corners on this one and just put a little something at the bottom. I love a decorated envelope. I just don't understand why people don't do the envelopes too. You see people making cards all the time. Make an envelope. You've got the punch board more than likely. go for it. It should all coordinate. Shout out if you know where that's from. And there we go. Now, with my stuff, I like to, I'm going to dress up the center, to the inside of the card too. Got to finish the card, got to finish strong, especially since it's been a while since I've done this. So I grabbed some more pattern paper because, again, we're trying to use up all that pattern paper. And I cut it down. If it's 5.5, I think I cut it down to maybe 5 inches. And I cut down that piece of paper to 4.5, maybe, something along those lines. Just enough. And of course, it's not enough because I talk and write as much as I talk. So that certainly was not enough, but it's okay. The person who's getting it, they know. I just added a little post-it with the extras. I had a few extra things I needed to say. And I grabbed another one of those stamps from that stamp set. I do not just stamp sentiments in the middle of a card. That's boring. It's not my style unless, it's something crazy, large or whatever. So I decided to put it down across the bottom. So I centered it just by eyeballing it. And still using this VersaFine clear ink, I just stamped the little sentiment down at the bottom. Now I'm pulling out the big guns. All my stuff gets sealed. If I'm sending you something, it's going to have a seal on it. And the person that I am sending this seal to just so happens to love who? Who does she love? Here she is. Who's that? Can you see it? Do you guys know who that is? I'm not going to tell you. Tell me in the comments section if you've made it this far through the video who you think that is. I wish I had done 6 wax cubes here, but I didn't. I did 5. Had I done 6, I probably would have gotten a perfect seal. I have yet to get a perfect seal on camera. I can get it off camera, but on camera, no. If you go through all my cards, you'd be like, oh, these are some wonky seals. I either use too much wax or not enough wax. And I make a lot of cards. I don't know what's up with me. Whatever. It's still cute. So I wrote my sentiment, sealed it up with a little bit of glue, and now I'm slowly pouring this on here. I find that if you pour too fast, it's so hot that it makes a mess, and you really want it to do a nice circle so that you can get a nice seal. Did I get a nice seal? No, that's because I didn't use enough wax. But it's pretty cool. And there she is in all her glory. You guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me and watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and leave me comments. I love comments. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.